The rain had already been falling for a while when I settled into the den, though it felt less like something beginning and more like something that had always been there. It pressed softly against the windows, a steady, unhurried rhythm, as if the evening itself were breathing. Outside, the world was blurred and dimmed by water and winter darkness. Inside, everything was held, contained, warm. I'm sitting in a deep chair near the fireplace, a book open in my hands. The fire doesn't crackle loudly, it simply glows and murmurs, a low presence rather than an interruption. The den is small, tucked away, wrapped in wood and soft light. Lamps are turned low, just enough to soften the corners of the room. Shadows don't move much here. Nothing really moves. The rain continues outside, tapping and sliding, tapping and sliding. And I don't need to look up to know it's there. I can feel it in the quiet. The book rests comfortably in my hands, its weight familiar, its pages slightly warm from being held. I read slowly, though the words don't matter much. They drift in and out of focus, like thoughts that aren't asking to be followed. Every few moments, my attention slips back to the sound of rain, the way it lands on the roof, the way it gathers and releases from the gutters. The repetition is soothing. Rain, pause, rain again, always the same, always gentle. The fire gives off a steady warmth that settles into my chest and shoulders. It's the kind of warmth that doesn't demand attention, the kind that simply exists. My feet are tucked beneath a blanket, and the fabric is heavy enough to remind me that I'm here, indoors, sheltered. Winter stays outside. The cold stays outside. The rain stays outside too, even as its sound fills the room. I turn a page, not because I need to, but because the motion feels natural. The paper makes a soft sound, barely noticeable beneath the rain. The book remains open, patient, waiting. I lean back slightly, sinking deeper into the chair, feeling the stillness of the den hold me in place. Nothing needs to be adjusted. Nothing needs to be done. The rain keeps falling, and the fire keeps glowing. The windows are dark mirrors now, reflecting the room instead of the night. I can see the firelight flicker faintly in the glass, layered over the vague impression of rain beyond it. Droplets trace slow paths downward, overlapping, merging, separating again. The repetition is endless and calm. Outside, rain falls. Inside, warmth stays. I breathe slowly, almost matching the rhythm of the rain. Inhale, exhale. The sound of water against the house makes everything feel sealed, protected. The den feels like the center of something, though there's no edge I need to be aware of. Just this room, this chair, this book, this fire. Winter evening, held at a distance. The blanket doesn't shift, the fire doesn't change. The rain continues. It falls on the roof, on the ground, on everything beyond the walls, but none of it reaches me. I remain indoors, reading, resting, listening. The book stays open. The page stays still. My eyes move slowly across the lines, then pause, then move again, unhurried. There is comfort in how little happens. The rain does not grow louder or softer, it simply is. The fire does not demand tending, it quietly offers warmth. The den does not change shape or mood, it remains a place of stillness, of shelter, of quiet presence. I remain seated, present but unneeded, held by the room as much as I'm holding the book. Outside, rain falls through the winter evening, over and over, consistent and calm. Inside, the warmth remains, steady and soft. I keep reading. I keep listening. I keep resting, surrounded by rain and comfort, with nothing pulling me away, nothing asking for more. The rain stays exactly where it is, outside the walls, outside the windows, falling in the same patient way it has all evening. It doesn't hurry, and it doesn't pause. It simply continues to arrive, drop by drop, layering sound upon sound until the night feels padded and thick. The house absorbs it quietly. The den holds steady. I remain in the chair, the book still open, its spine relaxed in my hands. The pages are unmoving now, not because I've finished reading, but because there's no need to rush them. Words sit gently on the paper, waiting without expectation. My eyes drift over them, then drift away again, resting on the firelight, then the window, then nowhere in particular. The fire gives off a constant warmth, spreading evenly through the room. It settles into the furniture, into the air, into me. There's no sharp heat, no sudden flare, just a steady glow that makes winter feel distant and abstract. Outside, rain and cold exist together. Inside, warmth remains unchanged. The sound of rain is layered now. Some of it taps lightly, some of it slides, some of it gathers before letting go. Each sound repeats in a familiar pattern, looping gently, never surprising. The roof receives it. The ground receives it. The night receives it. I receive only the sound, softened by walls and glass. The den feels enclosed, in the best possible way. The ceiling low enough to feel close, the walls close enough to feel protective. Light pools near the fire and fades gradually into shadow, without sharp edges. Nothing feels unfinished. Nothing feels far away. The rain continues to outline the evening, holding everything in place. I shift my grip on the book slightly, just enough to feel the texture of the cover again. The motion is small, almost unnecessary, but comforting. The book is warm now, warmed by my hands, warmed by the room. I rest it lightly against my chest for a moment, feeling the steady rise and fall of breathing beneath it. The rain keeps falling. Each breath feels slower than the last, deeper, easier. Inhale, warmth. Exhale, quiet. The chair supports my back without asking me to adjust. The blanket stays exactly where it is, heavy and reassuring. Winter stays outside, blurred by rain and darkness. The window shows only faint movement now, streaks of water catching reflections of firelight. The outside world feels distant, softened by weather and night. There are no shapes to follow, no lights to watch, just rain, repeating itself endlessly, calmly. The book opens again in my hands, not fully lifted, just enough to remind me it's there. I glance at the page, letting a few lines pass through my mind without effort. They don't linger. They don't need to. The act of reading itself is enough. The stillness of it, the quiet attention, the lack of urgency. The fire continues to glow. The rain continues to fall. The den remains warm and unchanged. Time stretches gently here. Minutes don't stack or move forward. They simply rest. Evening stays evening. Winter stays winter. Rain stays rain. I stay indoors, sheltered, held by familiar sounds and steady warmth. The rain outside seems to deepen the quiet inside, as if each drop adds another layer of insulation. The den feels wrapped, sealed, safe. I don't think about anything beyond these walls. I don't need to. Everything necessary is already here. Warmth, quiet, shelter. My eyes grow heavier, though they still open and close slowly, unbothered. The book remains open, patient, resting. The chair continues to hold me. The fire breathes softly. The rain keeps its rhythm, over and over, unbroken. Nothing changes. Nothing needs to. The rain falls into the night, steady and calm, while inside the den, warmth lingers, and stillness settles deeper and deeper, like a gentle blanket drawn up just a little higher. The rain keeps falling with the same soft insistence, as if it has no awareness of time at all. It doesn't mark the evening as moving forward. It simply fills it. Each drop sounds like the one before it, and the one before that, creating a steady field of sound that smooths everything else away. The den remains unchanged, wrapped in warmth, sealed against the winter night. I'm still in the chair, still holding the book. The position feels settled now, final without needing to be declared so. My shoulders are relaxed, my hands resting easily, the book balanced in a way that requires no effort. The pages stay open, unmoving, as if they too are content to remain exactly where they are. The fire continues its low glow, not flickering dramatically, just breathing light into the room. The warmth reaches my legs, my hands, my chest, spreading evenly and quietly. It feels constant, dependable. Outside, rain presses against the house, but it never crosses the boundary. Inside, the warmth stays where it belongs. The sound of rain feels thicker now, fuller, as if the night has grown deeper around it. Water meets roof, meets ground, meets itself again and again. The repetition has no beginning and no end. It loops gently, endlessly, the way calm thoughts do just before sleep. The den feels smaller in the most comforting way, like a space designed only for rest. The walls don't move. The shadows don't stretch. Light stays pooled near the fire, dim and golden, fading softly into the corners. Nothing draws attention. Nothing interrupts. I breathe in slowly, feeling the warmth of the air, the faint scent of wood and paper. I breathe out just as slowly, releasing into the quiet. Each breath feels unmeasured, uncounted, guided only by comfort. The rain outside seems to breathe with me, in its own steady way. The window remains dark, patterned with faint trails of water. Reflections of the fire drift across the glass, slow and soft, overlapping with the motion of rain. There's no clear line between inside and outside in the reflection, just warmth layered over rain, light layered over night. The book stays open, its presence gentle. I look at it without urgency, letting my gaze rest where it lands. The words don't pull me forward. They don't ask to be remembered. They exist quietly, like everything else in the room. The blanket remains heavy across my legs, grounding, still, I don't shift beneath it. There's no need to adjust. The chair continues to support me without pressure. The fire continues to warm without demand. The rain continues to fall without variation. Winter stays outside, softened by water and darkness. Inside, the den remains steady, insulated from cold and noise. The sound of rain fills the space just enough to quiet everything else, smoothing edges, slowing thoughts. Time doesn't move here. It rests. The evening doesn't progress. It deepens gently, layer by layer, like the rain itself. I stay where I am, reading without reading, listening without effort, held by warmth and shelter. The rain continues to fall into the night, repeating itself patiently, while inside the den, stillness settles even more deeply, spreading through the room, through the chair, through me until everything feels calm, contained and quietly at rest. The rain remains constant, a soft, unbroken presence pressing gently against the evening. It falls without urgency, without pause, each drop finding its place and disappearing into the whole. The sound feels the space beyond the walls, and in doing so, it protects what's inside. The den stays warm, unchanged, quietly holding its shape. I'm still here, still indoors, still settled into the chair as if it were designed exactly for this moment. The book rests in my hands, open at the same place, the pages neither turning nor closing. The weight of it feels familiar, grounding. My fingers rest along the edges without gripping, without effort. Everything about the posture feels complete. The fire continues its low glow, a steady source of warmth that doesn't flicker sharply or demand attention. It radiates outward, slow and even, softening the air around it. The warmth reaches my skin and stays there, lingering, reassuring. Outside, rain and cold move together through the night. Inside, warmth stays still. The sound of rain has a fullness to it now, like a blanket of sound laid carefully over the world. Drops land on the roof, slide down unseen paths, gather briefly, then release. The pattern repeats endlessly. No single drop stands out. It's the sameness that makes it comforting. The den feels deeply sheltered, as though the rain itself is helping to hold it together. The walls feel thick, the windows secure. Light from the fire settles gently on the floor, the furniture, the edges of the room. Shadows remain soft, unmoving. Nothing shifts. Nothing asks for attention. My breathing stays slow and easy. Each inhale brings warm air. Each exhale releases into quiet. The rhythm feels natural, unforced, almost guided by the rain outside. There's no reason to change it. There's no reason to think beyond it. The book remains open, its presence calm and steady. I glance at the page again, letting my eyes drift across lines without focusing on meaning. The act itself is soothing. The stillness of reading without urgency, without purpose. Words pass through gently and fade, leaving only the feeling of calm behind. The window shows little beyond darkness and motionless rain. Occasional reflections of firelight ripple faintly across the glass, blending with the water outside. Inside and outside overlap only in reflection. Warmth layered over rain. Quiet layered over night. The blanket stays heavy across my legs. a constant grounding weight. It doesn't shift. I don't move beneath it. The chair continues to hold me in the same way it has all evening, steady and supportive. The fire continues to glow. The rain continues to fall. Winter feels distant now, more like an idea than a presence. The cold exists somewhere beyond the walls, beyond the sound of rain, but it doesn't reach me. The den stays warm, enclosed, unchanged. Time feels wide and slow, stretched gently rather than moving forward. The evening remains evening. The rain remains rain. The room remains still. I remain here, reading, resting, listening, sheltered. The rain outside keeps repeating itself, soft and patient, while inside the den, the warmth and stillness settle even deeper, spreading quietly through the space, wrapping everything in the same calm, steady comfort, over and over again. The rain does not change its mind. It keeps falling the same way it has been, steady and soft, each sound blending into the next until it feels like a single, continuous hush laid over the night. The house receives it quietly. The den remains sealed and warm, untouched by the weather beyond its walls. I stay where I am, settled fully now, as if movement has become unnecessary. The chair supports me without pressure, without edges that ask to be noticed. The book rests open in my hands, its pages still, its presence gentle. I don't feel the need to turn the page. The moment doesn't ask for progress. The fire continues to glow, low and even, sending warmth into the room in slow waves. It reaches my hands, my arms, my chest, and stays there. The heat is consistent, dependable, wrapping the den in quiet comfort. Outside, rain and winter continue together, but inside, the warmth never wavers. The sound of rain feels deeper now, fuller, as if it has settled into its own rhythm and found no reason to leave it. Drops land, slide, and disappear into the night. The repetition smooths everything else away. There is no sharp sound, no sudden break, only the same gentle pattern, over and over. The light in the den remains low and soft. Firelight pools near the hearth and fades gently outward, leaving the corners dim but calm. Shadows stay where they are, unbothered. The room feels complete, as though nothing could be added or taken away without disturbing its balance. I breathe slowly, comfortably. The air feels warm as it moves in, quiet as it moves out. Each breath feels like it belongs here, indoors, sheltered from the cold and rain. The rhythm of breathing blends easily with the sound outside, neither competing nor standing apart. The window shows only darkness and rain, streaks of water catching faint reflections of firelight. The outside world feels distant, softened by weather and night. There's nothing to follow, nothing to watch closely. Just rain, continuing its gentle fall. The book remains open, resting lightly against my hands. I glance down again, letting my eyes drift across the page without effort. The words don't linger. They pass through gently, leaving behind only the feeling of stillness. Reading becomes less about understanding and more about resting. The blanket across my legs stays heavy and warm. It anchors me in place, a quiet reminder that I'm indoors, protected. I don't shift beneath it. There's no reason to move. The chair, the fire, the room all remain exactly as they are. Time feels stretched and soft, no longer divided into moments. Evening stays evening, winter stays outside, rain stays rain. Inside, the den remains calm, unchanged, wrapped in warmth and quiet. The rain continues to fall into the night, steady and patient, while inside the den, stillness deepens further, settling gently into everything. The room, the chair, the book, and me, layer by layer, without end, without urgency, simply rest in there. The rain keeps its place outside, falling with the same unbroken patience, as though it has no intention of stopping or starting, only of being. Each drop sounds familiar, expected, blending into a continuous, gentle presence that surrounds the house without touching it. The den remains warm, unchanged, quietly protected. I stay settled in the chair, my body heavy in a comfortable way, supported without effort. The book is still open in my hands, its pages relaxed, unmoving. I'm aware of its weight, but only faintly, the way one notices a blanket after it has already been there for a long time. Nothing about it asks to be adjusted. The fire continues to glow steadily, casting a soft amber light that never sharpens or fades. The warmth reaches outward and stays, filling the room evenly. It settles into the furniture, into the air, into me. Outside, rain and cold continue their quiet work. But inside, warmth holds firm. The sound of rain feels almost distant now, even as it remains constant. It presses gently against the walls and windows, muffled and soft, turning the night into something quiet and contained. There's no variation in its rhythm, no surprise in its pattern. Just the same calm repetition, again and again. The den feels deeply still. The walls don't shift. The light doesn't flicker. Shadows remain soft and settled. Everything feels as though it has found the exact position it was meant to be in and decided to stay there. The room holds its breath in a way that feels restful rather than tense. My breathing remains slow and easy, uncounted. Each inhale brings warmth. Each exhale releases into quiet. The rhythm is natural, guided by comfort rather than thought. It blends easily with the sound of rain, the two patterns existing side by side without conflict. The window shows only faint movement now, rain tracing slow paths downward, catching reflections of firelight as it passes. Inside and outside blur together only in the glass, warmth layered gently over darkness. There's no need to look closely. A glance is enough. The book stays open, patient. I let my eyes rest on the page without urgency, letting words pass without effort. They don't ask to be remembered. They don't pull me forward. The act of holding the book, of being still with it, feels complete on its own. The blanket across my legs remains heavy and warm, unmoving. It keeps me anchored, reminding me that I'm indoors, sheltered from the rain and winter beyond the walls. I don't shift beneath it. There's no reason to change anything. Time feels wide and quiet here. Evening doesn't move toward anything else. It simply deepens, layer by layer, like the rain itself. Winter stays outside. The den stays warm. I stay seated, resting, listening. The rain continues to fall into the night, steady and calm, while inside the den, stillness settles further, spreading gently through the room and into me, soft and unbroken, with nothing needing to happen and nothing needing to end. The rain remains steady, never thinning, never growing heavier, just continuing in the same quiet way it has all evening. It rests against the house like a soft presence, surrounding it, enclosing it. Each drop blends into the next until the sound feels less like individual moments and more like a single, continuous hush. The den stays warm, held safely within that sound. I'm still in the chair, still settled, still supported without effort. My body feels completely at rest, heavy in the most comfortable sense. The book remains open in my hands, its pages slightly curved, unmoving. I'm aware of it without focusing on it, the way you're aware of something familiar that doesn't need attention. The fire continues to glow with the same low, steady light. It doesn't flicker or crackle loudly. It simply exists, radiating warmth evenly through the room. The heat settles into my hands and arms, into my chest, into the quiet spaces between breaths. Outside, rain and winter continue, but inside, the warmth stays unchanged. The sound of rain feels softer now, as if it has settled deeper into the night. Water meets roof, slides along unseen paths, disappears again. The repetition never breaks. There's comfort in knowing exactly what the next sound will be, even before it arrives. The den feels completely enclosed, like a place made only for stillness. The walls feel close without feeling tight. The ceiling feels low without pressing down. Light from the fire fades gently into shadow, leaving nothing sharp, nothing demanding. Everything rests where it is. My breathing stays slow and natural. Each inhale brings warmth and quiet. Each exhale releases into the soft sound of rain. There's no need to control it. It moves on its own, steady and calm, matching the stillness of the room. The window remains dark, patterned with faint trails of water. Firelight reflects softly in the glass, overlapping with the movement of rain outside. The outside world feels distant, blurred, softened by weather and night. Inside feels clearer, quieter, contained. The book stays open, resting easily in my hands. I glance down again, letting my eyes move across a few lines without effort. The meaning drifts past, without staying. Reading becomes a gentle rhythm, rather than an activity. Something that happens without intention. The blanket across my legs remains heavy and warm, grounding me in place. It doesn't shift. I don't move beneath it. The chair continues to hold me exactly as it has been, steady and supportive. Time feels slow and wide, no longer divided into moments. Evening stays evening. Rain stays rain. Winter stays outside. Inside, the den remains warm, unchanged, calm. The rain continues to fall into the night, repeating itself patiently, while inside the den, stillness settles even deeper, spreading softly through the room, through the chair, through the quiet space around me, resting there without end, without urgency, without needing anything more. The rain stays steady, like it has found its perfect pace and decided to keep it. It lands on the roof, gathers briefly, then slips away, over and over, without variation. The sound wraps around the house, softening the edges of the night. Inside the den, everything remains warm and still, held quietly in place. I don't shift in the chair. There's no discomfort to respond to, no urge to move. My body feels settled, supported, heavy in a calm way. The book is still open in my hands, resting there without effort. The pages remain exactly where they are, as if they understand there's no need to move forward, The fire continues to glow with the same gentle presence. Its light stays low and warm, filling the room without drawing attention to itself. The heat spreads evenly, settling into the air, into the furniture, into me. Outside, winter rain continues its quiet work. Inside, warmth remains unchanged. The sound of rain blends into a single continuous rhythm now. Individual drops no longer stand out. It feels like a soft curtain of sound, falling endlessly, smoothing thoughts as they arise. Nothing breaks the pattern. Nothing interrupts. The den feels deeply sheltered, as though the rain itself is reinforcing the walls. The windows feel thick, the room secure. Firelight rests on the floor and furniture, fading gently into shadow. The corners remain dim, but calm, untouched by movement. My breathing stays slow and easy, guided by comfort rather than thought. Inhale, warmth. Exhale, quiet. Each breath feels unmeasured, unhurried. The rhythm settles naturally alongside the rain, the two patterns existing together without effort. The window shows only darkness layered with motion, faint trails of water catching reflections of firelight as they slide downward. The outside world feels far away, softened into abstraction. There's nothing to watch closely, nothing to follow. The book remains open, patient. I let my eyes drift across the page again, not reading so much as resting them there. Words pass gently through awareness and fade. The act itself feels soothing, repetitive, calm. The blanket across my legs stays heavy and warm, unmoving. It anchors me gently, a reminder that I'm indoors, protected, still. I don't adjust it. I don't need to. Time feels suspended here, wide and quiet. Evening doesn't move toward anything else. It simply continues to exist. Rain continues to fall. Winter stays outside. Inside, the den remains warm and unchanged. The rain keeps repeating itself into the night, steady and patient, while inside the den, stillness deepens further, settling into every surface, every breath, every quiet moment, resting there softly, without needing to end. The rain remains exactly as it has been, a steady, gentle presence that fills the space outside without ever crossing inside. It presses softly against the roof and windows, a sound that feels rounded and complete, like it has no sharp edges left. The night holds it there. The den stays warm and unmoving. I stay in the chair, still and settled, as if I've been here far longer than I can remember. My body feels completely supported, every part resting where it should. The book remains open in my hands, its pages quiet, relaxed. I'm aware of it only in the simplest way, the way you're aware of something that belongs. The fire continues its low glow, steady and unchanging. It gives off warmth without sound, without effort. The light it casts stays soft and dim, spreading gently through the room and then stopping, as though it knows exactly where to end. Outside, rain and winter continue together. Inside, the warmth never shifts. The sound of rain has become almost indistinguishable from silence, not because it's gone, but because it's so constant. Drop after drop blends together, forming a continuous background that smooths everything else away. Thoughts slow down inside it. Attention drifts without needing direction. The den feels deeply enclosed now, like a space folded inward on itself. The walls feel steady and protective. The ceiling feels close enough to be comforting. Firelight rests quietly on the floor and furniture, leaving shadows soft and still. Nothing moves. Nothing needs to. My breathing remains slow and natural. Each inhale feels warm and quiet. Each exhale feels like letting go of something already light. The rhythm repeats without effort, guided by comfort rather than intention. The rain outside seems to echo it gently, neither louder nor softer. The window remains dark, traced with faint lines of water moving downward at their own pace. Reflections of the fire drift slowly across the glass, overlapping with the rain beyond it. Inside and outside blend only in reflection, warmth layered over darkness. The book stays open, patient and calm. I let my eyes rest on the page again, not focused on any one line. The words exist, but they don't ask for attention. Reading becomes a quiet presence rather than an activity, something that simply happens while I rest. The blanket across my legs remains heavy and warm, unchanged. It holds me in place gently, reminding me that I'm indoors, sheltered, still. I don't move beneath it. There's no reason to adjust anything. Time feels soft and wide here. Evening doesn't progress. It settles. Rain continues to fall. Winter remains outside. Inside, the den stays exactly the same. Warm, quiet, contained. The rain keeps falling into the night, steady and patient. While inside the den, stillness spreads even further, filling every corner, every breath, every quiet space, resting there gently, endlessly, without needing to move on. The rain holds its rhythm without wavering, as if it has settled into the night and decided to stay there. It falls softly, endlessly, surrounding the house in a quiet veil of sound. Each drop blends into the next, until the rain feels less like motion and more like atmosphere. Inside the den, everything remains warm, unchanged, and still. I remain in the chair, resting exactly as I am. There's no pull to shift or adjust, no signal from my body asking for movement. The book stays open in my hands, its pages curve gently, familiar and calm. It feels like part of the stillness now, another quiet surface in the room. The fire continues to glow at the same low intensity, steady and reassuring. Its warmth spreads without effort, filling the den and staying there. The air feels soft against my skin, warmed just enough to make everything feel settled. Outside, rain continues to fall through the winter evening. Inside, the warmth never changes. The sound of rain feels deeper, more complete, like a soft layer placed carefully over the world. It lands on the roof, slides away, repeats. Nothing interrupts the pattern. There's no pause, no emphasis, just the same gentle repetition, again and again. The den feels fully enclosed now, like a place designed only for shelter and rest. The walls feel steady. The light remains low and even. Shadows stay quiet in the corners, unmoving. Nothing draws attention. Nothing stands out. Everything simply rests. My breathing stays slow and easy, guided by comfort rather than thought. Each inhale brings warmth. Each exhale releases into the soft sound of rain. The rhythm repeats without effort, blending seamlessly with the night. The window remains dark, streaked with faint trails of water that move at their own calm pace. Firelight reflects gently in the glass, overlapping with the rain outside. The outside world feels distant and softened, reduced to motion and sound. The book remains open, patient. I let my eyes rest on the page without focusing, letting the presence of it be enough. Words drift through awareness and fade without staying. Reading feels like resting now, like listening. The blanket across my legs stays heavy and warm, anchoring me in place. It doesn't move. I don't move. The chair continues to support me quietly, exactly as it has been. Time feels wide and unhurried. Evening remains evening. Rain remains rain. Winter stays outside. Inside, the den stays warm and unchanged. The rain continues to fall into the night, steady and calm. While inside the den, stillness settles further and further, soft and complete, resting everywhere at once, without urgency, without ending. The rain does not announce itself anymore. It simply exists, a constant layer resting over the night. It falls the same way it has been falling, softly and evenly, as though it has forgotten how to do anything else. The sound presses gently against the house, never asking to come inside. The den remains warm, unchanged, quietly holding everything within it. I stay exactly where I am, settled fully into the chair. My body feels heavy in a comforting way, supported without effort. There's no edge digging in, no place that needs adjusting. The book stays open in my hands, its pages still, relaxed, as if they've also settled into rest. I don't feel the need to turn them. The fire continues its steady glow, low and calm. The warmth spreads evenly through the room, lingering without fading. It wraps around my hands and arms, settles into my chest, and stays there. Outside, winter rain continues its slow rhythm. Inside, warmth remains constant. The sound of rain feels almost like a blanket now, layered and soft. Individual drops no longer stand out. Everything blends together into a single gentle hush that fills the background. It smooths the space between thoughts, stretches the quiet wider and wider. The den feels deeply sheltered, like a pocket of stillness set apart from everything else. The walls feel solid and close, not confining but reassuring. Light from the fire rests gently on the floor and furniture, fading into shadow without contrast. Nothing moves. Nothing shifts. My breathing stays slow and natural. Each inhale brings warm air. Each exhale releases into quiet. There's no effort in it, no need to guide it. The rhythm continues on its own, steady and calm, mirroring the rain outside. The window remains dark, traced with soft lines of water slipping downward. Firelight reflects faintly in the glass, drifting slowly, overlapping with the rain beyond it. The outside world feels distant, softened into motion and sound. Without detail, the book remains open, patient and quiet. I let my eyes rest on the page again, not reading for meaning, just letting the shape of the words exist. They pass through gently, leaving no trace. The act of holding the book feels enough. The blanket across my legs stays heavy and warm, unmoving. It anchors me in place, a gentle reminder of shelter and comfort. I don't shift beneath it. There's nothing to adjust. Time feels suspended here, wide and unmeasured. Evening does not move forward, it simply remains. Rain continues to fall. Winter stays outside. Inside, the den stays warm, calm, unchanged. The rain keeps falling into the night, steady and patient, while inside the den, stillness settles even deeper, filling every quiet space, resting there softly, endlessly, without needing to resolve into anything else. The rain continues without interruption, as if it has settled into a permanent state of falling. It lands softly, evenly, creating a sound that feels smooth and rounded, with no sharp beginnings or endings. The night accepts it completely. The den remains untouched, warm and still, held safely inside the sound. I remain in the chair, unmoving, fully supported. My body feels relaxed in a way that doesn't need awareness anymore. There's no tension to release, no posture to correct. The book stays open in my hands, its pages gently curved, resting there as naturally as my own hands do. It feels like part of the room now. The fire continues its low, steady glow. It gives off warmth without flicker or urgency, spreading gently and stopping exactly where it should. The air feels soft and warm against my skin. Outside, rain and winter remain present, but distant. Inside, warmth stays consistent and calm. The sound of rain fills the background completely, smoothing the edges of the evening. It's no longer something I listen to closely. It's something I rest within. Drop after drop blends together, forming a continuous hush that quiets everything else. The den feels deeply settled, like nothing here has moved for a long time and nothing plans to. The walls remain steady and close. The light remains dim and even. Shadows stay soft and unmoving in the corners. The room feels finished, complete, resting. My breathing continues slowly, naturally. Each inhale feels warm and quiet. Each exhale releases into the soft, steady rain. There's no pause between breaths that feels empty. Everything flows gently, without effort. The window remains dark, streaked faintly with water tracing slow paths downward. Firelight reflects softly across the glass, drifting lazily, overlapping with the rain outside. The outside world feels reduced to motion and sound, far away and unimportant. The book remains open, patient. I let my eyes rest on the page without intention, allowing the presence of it to be enough. Words pass through awareness lightly and disappear, leaving only stillness behind. The blanket across my legs remains heavy and warm, unchanged. It holds me in place gently, a quiet weight that reinforces the sense of being indoors, sheltered. I don't move beneath it. There's nothing to change. Time feels wide and quiet here, no longer divided into moments. Evening stays evening. Rain stays rain. Winter stays outside. Inside, the den remains warm, calm, unchanged. The rain keeps falling into the night, steady and soft, while inside the den, stillness settles even deeper, filling the room completely, resting there gently, without urgency, without ending. The rain keeps falling in the same quiet way, as if it has no awareness of how long it has been falling and no interest in stopping. It rests against the night, a constant, even presence, softening everything it touches. The house holds firm around it. The den stays warm, unchanged, deeply sheltered. I remain in the chair, completely at ease. My body feels settled beyond the need for thought, as though it has found the exact position it was always meant to rest in. The book is still open in my hands, its pages unmoving, gently curved. I don't think about turning them. There is no sense of before or after here. The fire continues to glow with quiet consistency. Its warmth spreads through the room and stays, neither growing nor fading. The air feels comfortable and still, warmed just enough to soften every breath. Outside, the rain continues to fall through the winter evening. Inside, the warmth remains steady. The sound of rain feels almost indistinguishable from the silence now. Not because it has faded, but because it has become so constant that it blends into everything else. Drop after drop merges into a single, gentle sound that fills the background and smooths the edges of thought. The den feels closed in the most comforting way, like a space designed only for rest. The walls feel solid and near. The ceiling feels low and protective. Firelight rests quietly on the floor and furniture, fading into shadow without contrast. Nothing moves. Nothing needs attention. My breathing stays slow and natural, guided by comfort rather than awareness. Each inhale brings warmth. Each exhale releases into quiet. The rhythm continues on its own, unmeasured, blending easily with the steady rain outside. The window remains dark, traced with faint lines of water sliding downward at their own pace. Reflections of firelight drift softly across the glass, overlapping with the rain beyond it. The outside world feels distant, softened into sound and motion without detail. The book remains open, patient and calm. I let my eyes rest on the page again, not reading for meaning, just letting the shapes of the words exist. They pass through awareness lightly and fade, leaving only the feeling of stillness behind. The blanket across my legs stays heavy and warm, unmoving. It anchors me gently, a quiet reminder that I am indoors, sheltered from the rain and cold beyond the walls. I don't shift beneath it. There is nothing to adjust. Time feels wide and quiet here. Evening does not move forward. It simply rests. Rain continues to fall. Winter remains outside. Inside, the den stays exactly the same. Warm, calm, contained. The rain keeps falling into the night, steady and patient. While inside the den, stillness settles even deeper, filling every quiet space, resting there softly, endlessly, without asking for anything more. The rain is still there, still falling, still repeating itself in the same gentle way, as if it has always been part of the night. It rests against the house without pressure, without urgency, surrounding everything beyond the walls in a soft, continuous sound. Inside, the den remains unchanged, warm and quiet, holding its shape. I stay in the chair, completely at rest now. There's no awareness of posture anymore, no sense of weight or effort. The book remains open in my hands, its pages still, relaxed, simply existing. I don't look at the words so much as let them be there, part of the room, part of the calm. The fire continues to glow, low and steady, giving off warmth that never shifts. The light stays soft, dim enough that nothing stands out. It settles gently on the floor, the furniture, the edges of the room, then fades into shadow without contrast. Outside, rain and winter continue quietly. Inside, warmth remains constant. The sound of rain feels complete now, like it has filled every space it needs to fill. Drops land and blend together, forming a single unbroken hush. There's no beginning to listen for, no ending to wait on. It simply continues, smooth and even, carrying the night along with it. The den feels deeply still, as though everything has settled into its final, most comfortable position. The walls feel steady and close. The ceiling feels protective. Shadows remain soft and unmoving. Nothing changes. Nothing needs to. My breathing is slow and effortless, barely noticeable. Each inhale brings warmth. Each exhale releases into quiet. The rhythm continues on its own, gentle and uncounted, blending seamlessly with the rain outside. The window remains dark, streaked faintly with water sliding downward at its own pace. Firelight reflects softly in the glass, drifting and fading, overlapping with the rain beyond it. The outside world feels distant and softened, reduced to motion and sound. The book stays open. The blanket stays heavy and warm. The chair continues to hold me. The fire continues to glow. The rain continues to fall. Time feels wide and quiet here, stretched thin and gentle. Evening remains evening. Winter stays outside. Inside, the den stays warm, calm, unchanged. And the rain keeps falling into the night, steady and patient. While inside the den, stillness rests everywhere at once, soft and complete, lingering quietly, without urgency, without needing to go anywhere at all.